Welcome to another video from Gweilo 60. Wei Fong and I were talking about going back to China here in the near future. And so I started looking online and saying, okay, what are we up against? How are we going to do this? We don't have to get a visa because we have resident permits. Well, you wouldn't be able to get a visa anyway, from what I've read online, and most international travelers are not allowed at this time to travel to or transit through China. But because Wei Fong and I are on resident permits, we would be allowed to go into China, but you got to do a COVID test 2 days before, and then a COVID test a day before, and you got to get your certificates. You've got all of these different forms to sign and fill out online just before you come to China. Not only that, but when you get to China, if you get to China, you've got 7-day quarantine on your dime. Yes, 7-day quarantine at an hotel or location of the Chinese government's choice. Okay, well, that's good. I've been through quarantine before. It used to be 14 days in a hotel. Now it's only 7 days in a hotel. But then you got 3 days of home lockdown too. So you've got, once you get there, you've got 10 days locked down. You're not going anywhere, and you've got multiple COVID tests that you have to take during these time periods. That's if you get to China. But as I say, most international travelers are not allowed to go to China. So you go to a visa office. No visa for you guys. You know what I mean? They're just not issuing visas to foreigners at this point. And if they were, you have to show up at a visa office. And a lot of people have been asking me, how do I go to China? What do I do, Gweilo? Well, don't do anything right now because your timing is terrible if you think you're going to China right now. They've got, I think, 847 COVID cases on average per day in China, and with a zero COVID policy like the Chinese government has, it's just not going to happen. So, and if you want to travel from, say, Nanaimo to Shanghai, it used to cost you 321 bucks. 321 bucks. Now it's $3,500 on Air Canada. You can go to these other sites that are supposed to, like Expedia and whatever, and they're supposed to give you a deal. Well, obviously they're not giving you a deal. But you see, the thing is, with Air Canada, I checked and it says, I think, $3,400 and some odd dollars round trip for one person. That's a good chunk of change for traveling between Nanaimo and Shanghai. But when I started going into the web page a little bit further, it dropped down to $2,600 per person round trip. So the Air Canada was about 5,200 bucks for 2 people round trip for Wei Fong and I, and the low cost web pages were about $7,200. So this one I went to, round trip ticket to Shanghai and back from Nanaimo, it came back at $273,000 and some odd dollars American. 273,000 American. That's about 350,000 Canadian dollars. That's for one person, guys, on a 15-seater. So there's a lot of those rich guys going to China that, well, if they had a visa, they would be rich guys going to China. But because of the restrictions, because of the lack of airfare going to China, or air travelers going to China, the prices have rose exponentially since the pandemic started, because from 321 even to 2,600 is quite a jump. Oh yeah, another thing. And yes, I still can find beautiful backgrounds for my videos. I've been spending way too much time in the studio, and the weather's beautiful today on Vancouver Island. So we're on Barbara Horston Trail in Lindley Valley Park, here just in the Nanaimo area. Just think the tourism hit that China's having. No international travelers into China. You know, things like the Forbidden City in Beijing, places like Gweilo, places like Beihai on the South China Sea, Hainan, the Hawaii of China. No international visitors. There'd probably be less foreigners in China than there's ever been at this particular time. But you know, when you think about it, China's got 1.4 billion people, and they've got enough tourists in China because they got 20% of the world's population. So they've got enough tourists in China to keep all of these venues just rolling along, just like it's another day. So if you are lucky enough to get all of this stuff and you're in the Shanghai airport, they'll come and they'll give you a COVID test, and then they'll haul you away to the hotel. And the hotel, you're probably going to be spending, I don't know, about 500 RMB or $100 a night. So that's another $700 per person, because you can't put two in a room, so that's another 1,400. So your 5,200 Canadian dollars just turned into 6,600 Canadian dollars by the time they release you into the world of China. Well, we made it. We've got to China. We've got through all of the rigmarole, and now we're in mainland China. Okay, and if you're going for, say, 6 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, 2 weeks, doesn't matter. If they have COVID in your area of China, that place gets locked down. You're not going anywhere. So even if you have flights back to your humble abode in the United States or Great Britain or Canada or wherever, you're not going. You're staying exactly where you are in your humble abode in mainland China, because there is no there's no way around the rules. So traveling to China right now is probably the wrong thing to do for a lot of people. For Weifang and I, if we were over there and we were living there full time like we have in the past, that wouldn't be a problem for us, because once we get there, we stay there, and you know, if they lock the city down, well, we just hang out in the city, you know, and that's the way it goes. But you can see all of the restrictions, from monetary restrictions on how much it's going to cost you to go to China, like a whack of change, guys. How many forms, and you know, the visa, and if you get a visa, now you got to go get your biometrics done too. Don't forget getting your face picture taken, getting your fingerprints done at Chinese visa office here, and then they'll share those fingerprints with the local authorities. And that's probably why you've got a lot of these people that it keeps the criminals out of China, is what it does. And knowing some of the criminals, like the dog killer and stuff like that, aren't in China anymore, it's because they had to go home and get their biometrics done before they could get another visa issued. And that's cleaned up a lot of that stuff in China, well, before the pandemic. But now that the pandemic has cleaned up everything, just for the fact that there's nobody there. So after all of these things, and the forms, and the money, and the quarantines, and the maybe you're going to get locked down, so you won't be able to get on your flight back to your home country, all of these deterrents are something that you should think about before you go to China. You thought you were going to China, but no, after you looked at all of the regulations, rules and regulations that you had to go through, maybe Thailand or the Philippines or Cambodia, Vietnam, anywhere but China right now, guys, because boy, this is a little negative on China today. Well, you know, but it's the truth, and if you want the truth, come to Gweilo 60. So I guess the moral of the story is, on this video, even if you have a resident permit, like Weifang and I have, even if you want to, there's so many rules and regulations, restrictions in place right now that it just makes it hard for us. So I guess Weifang and I will be spending our winter here on Vancouver Island. We might take off down to Arizona for a little bit, not sure yet, but traveling to China at this point in time is a no-go for us, because of the restrictions, because of the money, because of the restrictions, because of all of the things that we'd have to go through to get to China. And it's just one of those things where it's just not worth it at this time. So I guess you're going to be looking at beautiful backgrounds like this for a while. And that And that's another video from Gweilo 60. If you like this video, as always, like, comment, subscribe, push that share button. Don't forget to resubscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell, and make a comment or two. Until next time, thanks for watching. Peace out. Bye now.